Hey, hey, hey. Time for another Out of This World story from rSpace. Boy meets girl. Girl meets politics. Today on rSpace, you can't debate with the delusion, and you sure as hell can't date it. Girlfriend of 6 years cheated because we had different political views. I destroyed her reputation in an instant. I know that political views are very important in today's world. The candidate who you choose to vote for can have a massive impact on your life and the lives of others. That's why I've never been aligned with a specific political party. I always choose the candidate who seems to have the most to offer for the country that I live in. Politics should be taken seriously, but some people take it way too seriously. A good example of a person like that is my girlfriend. I, 31 male, have been dating Nella, 31 female, for 6 years now. When we met, she was the typical kind of woman. No offense, but she had no major interest in sports, politics, major world events, and all that kind of stuff. I think TikTok exposed her to more news of what was going on around the world, and with that, she became more interested in politics. I'm not complaining. In fact, I liked that she was more informed about some of the things which interested me. We have dated through 2 elections. The first one, we both settled on the same candidate. She chose the candidate that aligned with her party, which I'm not going to mention since I don't need people turning this into a political debate, and I chose the same candidate, not on party lines, but simply because I determined them to be the best choice. I did notice how vehement she was in political discussions though, and that was worrying. I tried to talk to her to calm down about it, but she claimed that it was serious business and it deserved passion. I let it go, and once the elections were over, she calmed down and went back to her normal stuff. However, it seemed that over the years between that election and the one that is coming up, she's become a lot more radicalized, if I can say that. Like I said, I know that we shouldn't minimize the impact that our political choices can have, but at the same time, it doesn't make sense for her to lose any sense of civility over politics. With the coming elections, it became clear pretty quick that I wasn't a fan of her candidate. I thought that her choice was going to do a horrible job if they got into office, and I felt like the candidate I settled on, the main opposition, would do a lot better. She didn't like it when I said that, and I made it clear that I wasn't choosing my candidate because I was a supporter of their party, but I chose them simply because I looked at the facts and they seemed like a much better option. We had way too many fights over that. Sometimes it was clear that she'd pick a fight with me. Maybe she'd watch something on TikTok that would rile her up, and she'd come out of the room and immediately start bashing me for not seeing the light that she had seen. I was making a big mistake. I was blind to the truth. I refused to be objective. For someone who I have dated for 6 years, it was a lot of aggression thrown my way. When it became clear that was going to be a regular thing with her up until the elections, I decided to stop engaging her when it came to politics. Part of me wanted to claim that I saw the light and I was going to vote for her candidate, just to get her off my back, but I refused to be dishonest in such a fashion. It was better for me to stick to talking about the things that we usually spoke about when there wasn't an election looming over us. Even though I wasn't engaging anymore, it didn't really stop her from trying to start debates or arguments with her. I just maintained to her that I didn't want to talk about politics with her. She was getting way too heated and it wasn't worth all of that. One day, when she was really trying to get me to say something, I didn't budge. She ended her attempt with, "Don't be surprised when I go look for someone else to have these discussions with." I told her that she could go ahead. I even hoped that she would be able to blow off some steam with her new political buddy, instead of throwing me in the blender because of it. Almost as soon as it happened, I knew that Nella had cheated on me. She came home late at night one night, which is something she doesn't do. She was chewing gum and her breath smelled like mint. She was trying her best not to come too close to me or talk near me, and when I tried to kiss her, she only gave me the lightest peck on the lips, and she pulled away. However, underneath the mint, I could smell alcohol in her breath. I could also see that she wasn't walking as stable as she was trying to seem. When I asked her where she had been, she said that she had been at the bar with her girls, and she claimed that she had told me that already. I told her that she hadn't said anything about that, and she started to get irate with me. She claimed she had, and in the end, I just told her that we had to agree to disagree. She seems dodgy, so I asked her if anything had happened at the bar she had gone to. She said no, and then told me that she had to go take a shower, and that I just shouldn't bother her. I have seen Nella drunk before. I've seen her with a few drinks under her belt. I could tell that she had a lot to drink and that she was also hiding something, because her demeanor just wasn't right. It was far from how it was under usual circumstances. I let her go to the bedroom and I knew that I was going to figure out what she had been up to that very night. I heard the shower turn on and then minutes later, I heard it turn off. About 15 minutes after that, when I walked in, she was passed out on the bed, so I went straight for her phone. When I got into it, I looked through her pictures, but she hadn't taken any that night. From there I decided to go and check out her messages. I went through as many of her social media apps as I could, and while I found her having a lot of political conversations with people, including some where she was very uncouth, which, I'll be honest, started to make me feel like it was time to end things with her. Most of them had nothing to indicate what she had done that night. The funny thing was that I had to go to TikTok before I found a conversation she had in her DMs with a guy named Bryce. The last conversation they had had was him sending her an address and her telling him that she was outside. When I read further into the conversation, it became really clear that she had met the guy in comments of a post on TikTok. She had hit up a conversation with him only 3 weeks ago, and there had been a lot of heavy flirting. He was the main culprit, but she didn't even make an attempt to deflect it once. She didn't even make it clear that she had a boyfriend. I'm sure that she enjoyed the attention that he was giving her. When they started talking politics, it was clear that he supported the same candidate as her, and that made her so happy. She claimed that there was some guy that she knew who she used to have political discussions with, but that guy had stopped engaging her because she had debunked all the points he used to support his candidate. If Bryce was smart, he might have known that the some guy was someone close to her based off how upset she was about it. She was really venting about me to this guy. I knew that my political choice upset her, but I had no idea the extent to which it did. Just from reading, it was almost as if she resented me. It was while she was talking about all of that she suddenly asked Bryce if he'd like to meet up. That was literally the day before she had come home drunk. I upset her so much with my different political opinion that she chose to plan to cheat on me. I was sure that she had. There was no evidence that it had actually happened, but I was sure that it had. I screenshotted everything to make sure it was all documented. And just to skip forward a little, the very next day I checked her phone again, and this time around, I saw them talking about last night. He said it was wild, and she said it was passionate. And then she recalled something that he did, which was blatantly sexual, and that was when I had the concrete evidence that she had cheated on me. I made sure to take screenshots of absolutely everything. I was even able to get pictures of Bryce from his TikTok videos. I'm going to confront her, quite obviously, and thankfully, since we're not married, I don't need to worry about divorce. It still kind of hurts, because underneath all that resentment that is building, I actually really love that woman. She hurt me really badly. I want to see what she has to say when she's presented with her crimes. I'll be sure to return with an update on how that went. I really want to know if she started hating me so bad over politics, or whether some of that hate had been there beforehand. If you hate me that badly, just break up with me next time. It's one thing to care about the world. It's another to weaponize that to justify acting like a jerk. You didn't dump her because of politics. She dumped you for an echo chamber with abs. She didn't want a relationship. She wanted a yes man with a pulse. And when you weren't going to give her that, when you refused to roll over and agree with every hot take she absorbed from social media, she went running to the first guy who would. She needed someone to validate her, not someone to challenge her. Update 1. A few days ago, I made a post about my girlfriend, Nella, who I discovered had cheated on me because we had political differences. I found out because she came home drunk one day, which was sort of unusual for her, and I could just tell that her demeanor was a lot different than usual. Because of that, I decided to snoop on her phone, and that's when I found out that she had slept with someone else, someone who shared her political views, because she was angry at me for supporting the opposition candidate. We dated for 6 years, and I think that I don't need to mention that finding out that she was cheating on me was heartbreaking. As much as you don't want to be with someone who was a cheater, it didn't stop me from hurting like hell, because you've spent the last several years of your life with that person, feeling like you're going to go to the distance. In Nella's case, I was expecting to propose to her very soon, like within the year. All of that just fell apart. My feelings don't matter the most in this post, though. I came here to let you all know that I confronted her and officially ended things. The confrontation is the noteworthy part of my story. I waited for the next day that Nella brought up political matters. We were both in the bedroom and she was watching TikTok. She showed me something about her preferred candidate and their track record, which was meant to somehow show me that she was making the right choice. But you'd rather go with your person for God knows what reason. When she said that, I saw it as the perfect opportunity to confront her. I asked her if the fact that I'd rather go for my person was the reason why she had chosen to cheat on me. She looked confused, as if she hadn't heard me, and I just repeated it. I asked her whether she hated me so much because I didn't agree with her that she had to choose to cheat on me. She spent a few minutes looking confused before saying, "Are you crazy?" She said that she hadn't cheated on me and that something was wrong with me. I asked her if she really wanted to go down that route of acting like she didn't know what I was talking about. I told her that if she was smart, she'd wonder how I knew, especially if she knew the truth and knew that she had actually slept with someone else. She still maintained her innocence, trying to gaslight me and call me crazy. I thought about pulling out my phone to show her the evidence, but instead, I just mentioned Bryce and I mentioned some of the things that they had done, based on the conversation I had seen. I could see her panic, but try and keep her cool physically, because I had just proven to her that I wasn't bluffing. She tried to maintain that I didn't know what I was talking about, but this time around it was a lot less convincing. I don't know where it came from, but I shouted at her to be accountable for once in her life. That scared her. I spelled it out to her that she had cheated on me, and I let her know that if she tried to act like she didn't know what I was talking about one more time, I would get very angry. At that point, she started sobbing. She said that she was sorry. She said that it had been a mistake. She said that she had been angry with me and she wanted to hurt me, and she acknowledged she did it in the worst way possible. As she was crying and trying to explain to herself, I decided to start recording her. Don't ask me why, but she looked pathetic, and I think I just wanted to capture that, especially because she was basically admitting to cheating at the same time. When she saw that I was recording, she tried to lunge at me, telling me to stop recording, but I moved out of the way and she fell to the floor. She started crying even more and crawled up to wrap around my ankles, sobbing fully. For someone who I had loved immensely months earlier, I felt disgusted by her. I fully resented how pitiful she looked. I told her that I wanted nothing to do with her and that if she knew what was good for her, she would pack her things and get out of the house. She told me that she was sorry and that she'd do anything for me to know how sorry she was. I told her that there was nothing she could give me to make things better. She said that she'd let me even things with one of my choice, but I told her that I wasn't interested. The prospect of cheating wasn't something that excited me. She didn't say anything to that. She just kept crying. I tried to pull my legs free, but she was holding on too tight. I told her 3 times on camera to let go of me, and when she didn't, I yanked one leg free with force and then the second one. I know she might have gotten hit in the face at some point during that, but she never complained to me about it. She got up, went to the bedroom, and in about 20 minutes she was out with a few things that she had packed. That was when I saw that her lip was bleeding. She told me that she'd come and get the rest of her stuff on another day. That's the last that I've seen of her. She's humiliated herself enough, but part of me wants to still hit back at her. I want to expose her to everyone that she knows, and even people who she doesn't know, but I think that might be too petty, so might not at the end of the day. For now though, that's the end of my saga with her. If you feel like you don't want to be with someone because they vote differently from you, don't be with them. There's no point forcing yourself to stay in a relationship. Resenting them and then choosing to cheat because you upset yourself. It makes no sense to me. Update 2. I didn't think I'd be back writing an update on Nella because I could have sworn that the whole saga with her had ended, but it seems that's not what she wanted to happen. First off, her candidate lost the election. I'm not sure if that's what pissed her off and made her want to get at me, but yeah, I didn't even gloat. I didn't post anything online. I just kept to myself after the election results were announced, and likely because she felt like I was doing some kind of unspoken "I told you so." She chose to try and ruin my life. Even though it had happened about 2 weeks earlier, she went to the police and told them that I had assaulted her and she had been scared to report it. She had pictures that she had taken of her injury, which were time-stamped. She had gone to the hospital, which gave her records of the injury, which required stitches. She also had proof that she had left my house in a hurry, which is why she only had essentials with her. I wasn't sure whether she had planned all of that from the start or whether it all just worked in her favor. To say that I was shocked when the police came to my door would be an understatement. I thought they came because of something with the neighbors or something, but when they said they were looking for me, I was surprised. They told me about the situation and my mouth actually dropped open when I realized that they were investigating domestic violence that had been reported. Apparently, I had kicked Nella in the mouth while she was on the ground. I admitted to them that I had kicked her, but it had been an accident and it wasn't my intention to hurt her. I told them that I had a video of the incident and I invited them in and went to get my phone. When I showed them the video, they saw the part where she wrapped around my legs and I clearly couldn't move. They heard as I told her to let go of me multiple times, but she didn't. Because I pulled myself away from her with force, the video was shaky at that point, but it could be seen that I yanked one leg free first, followed by the other leg. I told them that I felt that I had hit her somewhere at that point, but it hadn't been intentional, and she had been restraining me. I told her not to restrain me, which was clear in the video, but she didn't listen. They asked me a whole bunch of questions about her that night and how she left. I answered them all as honestly as I could. In the end, they thanked me for cooperating and they said that there didn't seem to be a crime committed. I asked her whether they could get her for a false report, but they said her report didn't necessarily classify as that. I didn't know the legal basis, but whatever. However, at that point, I realized that trying to be the bigger person was never going to work. I didn't want to be petty, but at that point, I didn't care, because she had tried to get me thrown in jail. Immediately, I went online and I posted some of the screenshots of her conversation with Bryce. I also posted the video I had taken. I wrote a really long post explaining exactly why she had cheated on me, as well as how the police had visited me. I made sure that everyone knew that I was making the post to publicly set the record straight, since I didn't know how far she would go to try and ruin my life. I wrote there that I wasn't doing it out of revenge, but yeah, that part is a lie. It was mostly for revenge. I tagged all sorts of big accounts, many of which love this kind of online drama. I think 2 of them picked it up. Her friends and family saw it since they follow me on social media, and some of them reached out to me to tell me to take it down, but I refused. Her parents called me, asking me the same, but I let them know that I couldn't, and they understood why I couldn't if they had read my post. They didn't put up much of a fight. Everywhere that she had an online presence, I made sure to either post the same message there or post a link to the detailed post. I wanted to make sure that she had nowhere to run. I wanted to make sure that everyone knew what she was up to. I heard from a mutual friend that she had lost her job, not directly because of my post, but because one of her coworkers had brought it up and she crashed out. She never called me or texted me, but she sent me a threatening message from an anonymous Twitter account that had just been created. I have no proof it was her, but I have common sense. I told the account that death threats weren't smart and it wasn't going to be too hard for the police to find out who they were. That was the last message she sent. Her brother called me lately, asking if I could take the posts I had made down, claiming that Nella was really depressed, but I told him it was beyond my power at that point, and she had made her choices. I hate to be the person that she made me, but she deserves it. Political differences aren't worth this much vitriol, but if she wants to go down that path, I can play the same game too. This time around, I really hope that this is the end of the entire saga. A few minutes of pleasure really aren't worth all of this. That's what I think the moral is. You caught her cheating. She admitted, cried, begged, offered you some morally bankrupt, even the score nonsense. And when that failed, she tried to ruin your life. All because you didn't vote the same way she did. That's wild. I get why you posted everything. She tried to nuke your reputation. You just made sure everyone saw who actually pushed the button. What do you make of this? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you next time.